Hey up, I know I'm early, but I've just got to cover this one story. I'm not going to start the main things yet, or I'll do the intro and stuff later on, but I've just found this one article that just got me annoyed. So let's have a look at it. I'll show you it, shall I? It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Right, hang on, let me go full screen. I keep forgetting. Look at it. iPhone spotted in painting from 1882 sparks time travel theories. We had one like this last week sometime, didn't we? And there you can see that there. I think that's supposed to be an iPhone. It's obviously a bloody book, isn't it? It's a book. I nearly swore then, proper swore, not the man bloody. Art fans have been left convinced of time travel after spotting what they're claiming to be an iPhone in a piece of art from 1882. Just stop the world. I want to get off now. We're not going to make it into the 22nd century, are we? The 19th century image shows the famous Scottish poet Robert Burns, or Abbie Burns, holding a rectangular item in a piece of art by the artists R. Josie and James Archer. It is titled The Betrothal of Burns and Highland Mary and depicts the poet and his love, Mary Campbell, as they declare their love for one another. So he wrote all his poems on his iPhone, did he? Is that what they're saying? In the engraving, Burns is dressed in outdoor clothing with a hat in one hand and his coat draped over his arm. His arm. The other hand appears to be holding the object which he is handing to Campbell, who stands barefoot across the River Aire from him. I've been to Aire in Scotland, it's very nice. Josie and Archer's engraving predates the invention of the iPhone by around 125 years, with London beginning the operation of the world's first coal-fired public electricity generating station at the time. All right, I see what I mean there. But while the device certainly resembles an early generation iPhone, there's a simpler explanation that does not involve time travel. Do you reckon? Maybe it's a bloody book. Anyway, a book of poems, perhaps, When Burns and Campbell declared their love for one another, they signified the moment with the tradition of exchanging Bibles across a running stream. Oh, there it is. There's the running stream. So it's Bibles. Where's hers? Don't know. Their plans to marry were formed in 1786 over the river in West Scotland, with the ancient tradition suggesting that the object depicted is a religious book, not a time-travelling iPhone. It's not the first time a modern-day item has been spotted in an early piece of art after a Nike trainer was supposedly seen in a painting from the 17th century, which, what a buckle. It was a shoe buckle. And that's not an iPhone. It doesn't even look like a bloody iPhone, does it? It's a book. As I said, they've said it's a Bible. As I said, like it, just a book with some poems that he'd written, or a prayer book, or a hymn book, or something along those lines. They were into that in those days. They wouldn't have bloody iPhones, would they? I tell you, I get so angry sometimes because I'm getting old. So I get so angry. Right, get rid of that. I'll leave it there. It just got me cross. Is that taking us to 1 o'clock? Nearly. I mean, an iPhone. Who thinks they've seen an iPhone? I mean, it's not like Ancient Aliens, is it? They'll do an episode. They'll do an episode on that, the Ancient Aliens. iPhone spotted in Robbie Burns' painting. They'll commit an entire episode to it. I mean, I love Ancient Aliens, but Christ Almighty. Oh, it's there. Look, I've just noticed it. Oh, you can't see it. I've taken it off. Nike trainer spotted in 17th century painting. That was from Indy 100, by the way. No, I've not shared the link in the description. Oh, God. Woman left stunned after being charged for a meal at friend's house. I think her friend must be a bit of an entrepreneur. Whatever. What else? Are there any others? Bizarre photo of Elon Musk kissing a robot goes viral. These are some of the headlines on this website. Anyway, right. So let's get on with the show. It's nearly 1 o'clock, isn't it? So we might as well start early. We may as well. So I'll see you back here any minute now. Right, I'm back. I'm back. Welcome to the show. This is my Steve, by the way, from that old Yorkshire geek. Welcome to my midweek news roundup. Found some articles that have caught my eye. As usual, links are in the description down below. Sorry for going on about that previous article, but it just caught me. That one caught my eye, definitely, and it caught my ire. But anyway, I know I'm a little bit early. I'm a couple of minutes early, but you know what the heck. So let's get into these stories. As I said, links are in the description down below. And don't forget, like and subscribe, share the videos, drop a comment, hit the notification bell if you're subscribed already. We're live on YouTube, Rumble, and Twitter. I better make sure, aren't we? Better make sure. Hey, what's that supposed to mean? The audio stream current bitrate is... Oh, it's because I muted it, isn't it? It's all right, fine. It'll be fine. And make sure we're going on a Rumble. Are we going on Rumble? Come on, just play, bloody hell. Oh, for Christ's sake. There we are. Yes, we're going on Rumble. And let's see if we're going on Twitch. Yes, we seem to be there on Twitch. All OC. That's French, is that? Right, what else? I'll better check, and make sure that you can hear me. You can hear me, because I've nobody in the chat to tell me that you can hear me, so I've got to go and do it this way. What's that? Right. Yes, right. You can hear me. Right, where were we? Right, let's get on with it. Right, news articles. Off we go. I've got to make myself teeny tiny and pop that in there. Right, first up from Inverse. Mark Hamill just acknowledged one of Lucasfilm's worst habits. No one's ever really gone, unfortunately, and that's obviously the habit. When Luke Skywalker became one with the Force in The Last Jedi, it should have been the end of an era. His sacrifice was bittersweet, of course, but it also felt inevitable. We can't expect these characters to live forever, or the actors that play them to keep doing so. As Star Wars has demonstrated time and again, nobody lives forever, and no actor should be stuck playing the same role, pardon me, for all eternity. Yeah, but that, I don't know what he's talking about there. Became one with the Force and became a Force ghost, didn't he? But we'd seen that before, haven't we, with Obi-Wan and that, and Yoda and Anakin, who turned young again for some reason at the end of the Return of the Jedi Special Edition. But anyway, whatever. Mark Hamill at least seemed perfectly content to let go of Luke. Let go, Luke. When I read The Last Jedi script, I said, that were crap. I threw it away, probably. Okay, well, that's it for me. The actor recently told Esquire, you start that process of disengaging from something that's been a part of your life. That process has since been halted by Lucasfilm's growing obsession with nostalgia and, in a way, realism. Exactly 3 years after Luke made his noble sacrifice in The Last Jedi, a pointless sacrifice, to be honest, the Mandalorian brought Hamill back. I mean, he could have just gone there, couldn't he? He didn't have to project himself across the galaxy with the Force. He could have he had a ship, an X-wing. He could have just gone. Because as we know, it takes no time at all to get anywhere in this, the current Star Wars universe. Anyway, the Mandalorian brought Hamill back, just in a very different capacity. With the help of startling CGI and a much younger body double, Hamill was able to return as Luke Skywalker. The technology wasn't perfect. In fact, it was downright distracting. But all right. But Lucasfilm and its partners at Industrial Light and Magic have been working hard to make it seamless ever since, and in the process, they've set a dangerous precedent, one that Hamill himself is speaking out about now. We could argue that it was the Rogue One that set the precedent with Peter Cushing, couldn't you? Moff Tarkin. I mean, it could be doubly argued that Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow did it way back in whenever it was, early 2000s, when they used. It wasn't done. I don't think it was done in CG. It was like old footage, and it was done in a jerky way to look like a hologram, so they didn't have to match up the voices, but they did it with Sir Laurence Olivier, didn't they? Brought him back. Not him, the actor, to play another character. Anyway, Hamill has returned as Luke twice already, once for The Mandalorian and again in the Book of Boba Fett. But even he seems to have his reservations about the de-aging process by demonstrating that he can, in a way, be restored to a bygone image. Many now expect to see a whole lot more uncanny valley Luke in the future. I mean, it could be argued that the lack of success of Solo, a Star Wars story, means that they're going to do this from now on and not recast characters. Because the recast Han Solo, Alden Ehrenreich was cast as the young Han Solo, and he did a decent job, and quite charismatic, just like a foot shorter than Harrison Ford. Maybe he wore, heels or something in A New Hope. Anyway. But yeah, and the lack of success that Solo had, it lost money after all. They probably thought, well, people didn't like Alden Ehrenreich and the other fella, I forgot his name now, Glover, that played Lando Calrissian. I forgot his first name, Donald Glover. Maybe they didn't like him as Lando Calrissian, so they thought, right, so in future we'll just CG him in like we did with Peter Cushing in Rogue One. Anyway, people say, oh, now you're going to be able to do a whole series of Luke post-Return of the Jedi, Hamill continued. I said, I don't think so. First of all, they don't need to tell those stories, but if they do, they could get an age-appropriate actor. And for the record, Lucasfilm already has a few on standby. 2 actors in particular have stood in for a younger Luke. Max Lloyd-Jones served as Hamill's body double in The Mandalorian, while Graham Hamilton stepped in for the Book of Boba Fett. Both bear an uncanny resemblance to Hamill, even before the visual effects teams get involved. But Lucas remains dogged in its pursuit of eternal life. And here's, I was going to show it here. Oh, yes, we're going to see here. That's the double for Leia in Rogue One. And I've met her, and she's absolutely gorgeous. I forgot her name. Got her autograph at a convention. And a photo with her. And I haven't got it with me, never mind. In some ways, this shouldn't be surprising. Lucasfilm and ILM have always pushed the boundaries of what's possible on screen, from the LED sound stages that made green and blue screens a relic to the uncanny motion capture tech that allowed older or deceased actors to cameo in new projects like Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Don't say that. Peter Cushing's and Carrie Fisher's likenesses were used to feature Grand Moff Tarkin and Princess Leia in the 2016 film. But what the name of the actress, I forgot. It's like a Scandinavian name. Can't remember. Sorry. See if you can find me my photo with the. What am I going to that for? I don't know. I'll just remove that a moment, just while I go searching on my hard drive. I'm sure it's in my pictures. Somewhere. It's probably on my Facebook, to be honest. That's probably the easiest place to look. Because I could be looking for months and not find it in there. So, never mind. Don't matter. It's not important. Right, anyway. Even then, fans pushed back on the inherent creepiness of that, but Rogue One felt like a contained experiment, or at the very least, a one-time thing. We hoped. Rogue One, best Star Wars film, in my opinion. It's amazing. But, Peter Cushing and Princess Leia did have, a bit of, the uncanny valley, as they've said. It wasn't perfect, but it was okay. It did the job, It doesn't have to be... Not everything has to be 100% realistic. Like George Lucas said, sometimes you can have romanticized special effects that don't have to look, photorealistic. Anyway, now this practice has become an unfortunate Star Wars fixture, and it's even bled into other Lucasfilm projects. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny will feature a de-aged Harrison Ford in a 25-minute flashback, a choice that critics have already begun to take issue with. It's getting harder and harder to justify the de-aging process. At best, it's a distracting, unnecessary new practice. At worst, it takes opportunities away from younger actors. The recasting shouldn't be a dirty word, especially not with all the success it's brought brought to Lucasfilm in the past. Ewan McGregor breathed new life into Obi-Wan Kenobi decades after Alec Guinness originated the role. Despite Lucasfilm's attitude towards Solo, the film gave us two great performances from Donald Glover and Alden Ehrenreich. Heck, Emperor Palpatine became the Force we recognise today because of Ian McDiarmid. Palps was originally portrayed by Marjorie Eaton in a mask, and voiced by Clive Revel with some chimpanzee eyes superimposed on top for good measure. Recasting is one of the few ways Star Wars has survived these past 40 years. If one of the franchise's original stars can understand that, then it shouldn't be hard for Lucasfilm to accept. No, they shouldn't. They should recast. Never mind all this, you've got to have that likeness. I know that Carrie Fisher did, jokingly say that they signed over the likeness rights to George Lucas so that he could use their faces and everything. And every time I look in the mirror, I have to pay some money to George. That's what she used to joke, didn't she? But yeah, just recast. Other franchises have recast actors, and it's worked perfectly well. How many James Bonds have we had? How many Spider-Mans have we had? We've had numerous Supermans, etc. So just recast if you need to. The fans, if the script's good, the fans will accept it. They will. Right. Let's move on to the next story. Let's move on to the next story. What's this one? I can't actually remember. Oh, this one. Yes, I forgot about this one. Here we are. Here is the leaked, allegedly final MCU Fantastic Forecast. This is from Forbes. Getting all posh. New blah, 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 and there we are. Go away. There's lovely Margot Robbie. Presume she's playing Sue Storm. I hope so. Anyway, while Marvel is taking their sweet time announcing their Fantastic Four cast for the movie, which right now is supposed to come out in February of 2025, insiders believe they have figured out who the final cast will be, and it's a whole lot of talent. These are just rumours, obviously. This latest leak comes from well-known MCU insider My Time to Shine Hello, which is similar to past reports for at least 3 of the 4 roles. We have Adam Driver as Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, him of the stretchy arms. Margot Robbie as Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman / girl. Paul Mescal as Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, and David Diggs as Ben Grimm, the Thing. Oh dear, sorry, I'm sniffling. And here we have a tweet. So obviously there's Adam Driver, Margot Robbie. I presume that's I forgot his name already, so I don't know. Paul Mescal and David Diggs. I'd heard of the first 3 before, but David Diggs is new to me, says whoever wrote this, Paul Tassi, senior contributor. I've not heard of Paul Mescal either. The Hamilton actor has been busy the past few years, including a lot of voice work roles, but recently in The Little Mermaid as Sebastian, given that Grimm's Thing would be a lot of voice work and probably motion capture, which may not necessarily always be Diggs, his casting would make some amount of sense given his history doing voiceover. I'm guessing he's got quite a deep voice. I don't know. I don't know if I've heard Sebastian in The Little Mermaid, the new one. I don't know, but I'm guessing maybe he's got a deep voice. Timbre, to go with the the size of Ben Grimm and the Thing. Anyway, Adam Driver and Margot Robbie about as A-list as you can get right now. This would be a big jump from DC, where Robbie has played Harley Quinn for 3 movies, now playing an essential Marvel hero instead. Reed Richards has probably been the most debated role of all these among fans, and again, we'd have an interesting switch from Driver, moving from Disney's Star Wars as Kylo Ren to Disney's Marvel as Mr. Fantastic. I think that's it, isn't it? Oh, there's Paul Mescal with Zendaya. Another Marvel alumnus, but in the Sony side. Oh, I haven't done yet. Paul Mescal is probably the name you don't know on this list. I didn't know David Diggs either. But you're about to. He did a fantastic job in the series Normal People with Daisy Edgar Jones, which is where I first saw him. I've never heard of it. he landed an Oscar nomination for his role in Aftersun. Never heard of it. He's about to be dramatically elevated even further with his alleged casting in Ridley Scott's Gladiator 2 as the nephew of Commodus, now grown. Oh, who was played before by... I've forgotten his name. Famous family, but I've forgotten his name. The young nephew of Commodus. Who it was alluded to maybe was the son of the Gladiator, Maximus, but not definitively confirmed. What is the matter with me today? I don't know. Anyway, where am I? Blah, 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 blah. I hope they change the name from Gladiator 2, because that'll sound rubbish, won't it? It'll have to be Gladiator Roman numerals 2 at least. But Gladiator something, the legacy of Maximus or something like that. Anyway, if he does in fact land Johnny Storm as well, he'll be a household name soon enough. Again, this is all insider reports, and none of this is confirmed. Certainly not by Marvel, but it's a very believable cast, and loads of different insiders have all claimed a similar lineup. Naturally, it will not be what every fan wants to see. John Krasinski should return as Reed. Johnny should be the kid from Outer Banks. Don't know, not seen it. I saw the first episode of Outer Banks and didn't like it, so I turned it off. So I can't remember who the kid is. But that's always going to be the case with casting cases like this. Oh no, I'm thinking of Outer Range. I don't know Outer Banks. So, who is Doctor Doom then? Right, update. The 29th of the 5th, I figured I might as well tack on an additional MCU rumour here, which is not directly tied to the Fantastic Four, but may play into the group all the same, given that the Baxter building is in the same place as Avengers Tower, which is what this has to do with. The Baxter building's obviously famously, where the Fantastic Four HQ was. While I am more sceptical of the sourcing on this one, there's a link. The idea here is that the mystery person that Tony Stark sold Avengers Tower to, as seen in Spider-Man Homecoming, is none other than Mephisto. It's always Mephisto, isn't it? He's as close as the MCU gets to the literal devil, and it's possible that he's bought the tower in human form, as I don't think you sell to a guy with red skin and giant horns. This may sound goofy, and it does, but the idea is that Mephisto will arrive in Ironheart and be an antagonist focused on magic versus technology, which Kevin Feige has said the series is about. You don't get much more tech-based in the wake of Tony's passing than Ironheart, and you don't get much more magic than Mephisto. And it's in WandaVision. Everybody was saying Mephisto going to be in that, weren't they? I'm inclined to believe this one a lot less than the Fantastic Four rumour, mainly based on sourcing, but also Mephisto has essentially become an MCU meme ever since he was supposed to show up in WandaVision and never did. Now, every time there's an MCU mystery, his name crops up again, as I've just said. But if Mephisto does own the building and makes it his lair, and the Fantastic Four moving down the street in the Baxter building, sure, those paths could certainly cross. They have in the comics before. Doctor Doom and Mephisto specifically have done deals in the past, so we'll see if this pans out, but don't hold your breath. What do you mean down the street? I thought you just said it was going to be the Baxter building. Or they just mean it's in the same place, as in it's in New York. It's not in the same physical area. I thought they meant that the Baxter building was there and was like demolished or whatever when Tony Stark built his Avengers Tower. I thought that's what they were getting at, but because there were rumours that the Fantastic Four film were going to be set in the 60s. That was the rumour. So, could the Baxter building be where the Avengers Tower would be in the future? I don't know. But that's just me guessing and rumours. But there you go. So that's the rumoured lineup. Adam Driver as Reed Richards. Not sure, but then it don't look very, I don't know, Reed Richardsy, does it? I don't know, but I suppose, why not? Why not? To be honest, this lineup, if this is the lineup, it's less diverse than I expected it to be. because fame, obviously the original Fantastic Four were all white, weren't they? Because that were when they were created in the 60s and stuff. They were all white, weren't they? And then we did Fantastic Four, the Tim Story movies. They were all white, weren't they? But then they did the Josh Trank Fantastic Four, and Johnny Storm were black for some reason, even though he was Sue Storm's brother. Was that ever explained in the film? I can't remember. Were he adopted? Maybe. I don't know. I've only seen it once. But to be honest, I expected this to be more diverse. And Ben Grimm, Ben Grimm, a black person, which is fair enough. Why not? But at least they've got Johnny Storm and Sue Storm, the same, ethnic, whatever, even though she's Australian. And I don't know what he is, but not obviously just in real life. I'm waffling. But as I said, I expected there to be like Reed Richards to be white, Sue Storm to be Asian, Johnny Storm to be, I don't know, what the East Asian or not East, South Asian, and Indian, Pakistani sort of thing, and Ben Grimm to be black. I expected that. I expected it to be like every sort, but they could have just gone with Reed Richards is Hispanic and changed his name to Ricardo Richards or something, and Sue Storm to be Asian, South Asian, and black. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm digging a hole for myself here, I know. But anyway, so there you go. So that's just a rumour, though, and we will see. It probably won't happen, but never mind. Right, let's move on. Move on before I get myself into trouble. Right. Hey, what's going to happen with this one? It's a Star Trek one. It's a Star Trek one. There we go. It's from Screen Rant, who are just like regurgitating Bab. Sorry for using that word, but that prevalent is Screen Rant. I think they're taking over. I think they're like absorbing other websites because other websites are starting to assume Screen Rant's fonts and stuff like that. So I think they're like absorbing other news websites around them, and they're just spewing stuff out to the internet. Strange New Worlds, Strange New Worlds episode titles hint at what happens in season 2. The episode titles for Star Trek Strange New Worlds are revealed, and they offer hints at what's to come for Captain Pike and his Enterprise crew. I'm sure the titles were revealed a while ago. Anyway, I might have even done a video about it, but I can't remember. The episode titles for Star Trek Strange New World Season 2 have been released, and they offer compelling hints about what's to come for Captain Christopher Pike, Anson Mount, and the crew of the USS Enterprise. Strange New Worlds Season 2 returns on Thursday, June 15th, and will consist of 10 episodes. Strange New World Season 2 will follow up on Season 1's cliffhangers, while also introducing new characters such as Lieutenant James T. Kirk, Paul Wesley, though there is a photo of him with La'an, and he's got his captain stripes on his sleeve. But never mind. And Chief Engineer Pelliot, Carol Kane. Have I got that? Hang on, let me just check. I'm sure I've got that image. Just bear with me. I'm sure I saved that. Where is it? Where have I put it? Did I save it? Or did I just think I saved it? I probably just thought I saved it. I could have sworn I'd saved it. I could have sworn I'd seen it on the internet, and I thought, I'll save that and use it. But no, it's not there. Oh, yes, it is there. It is there. Hang on. There we go. Right. So I'll share that with you now. Go away. There we go. Right. We're back up again. There we go. And as you can see, Captain Stripes on there. 2 thick and 1 thin band. That's a captain stripe. In the original series, it was a dotted stripe on the central one. Can we zoom in on that? Hey, there you go. Oh. There you go. That's Captain Stripes. So he's not a lieutenant in this one. He's a captain, isn't he? Anyway, so there we go. So I'll get rid of that now. So there. Told you, not lying. Hey. Right. Where were we? Off you go. Oh, that's still full screen. Was there? Right. And Chief Engineer Pellier Carol Kane, who sounds horrible so in the trailer, and the horrible voice she's got. Ooh. Twitter user at Notting Hill Nerd posted an image listing all 10 episode titles for Strange New World Season 2. While some of the episode titles are cryptic, others do offer some compelling hints about what's to come in Strange New World Season 2. Check out the tweet below, and there it is. So we know the episode titles for the upcoming second season of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, but what is the funniest plot line that you can come up with for any of these episodes? By the way, make sure there's no messages on the other streams. No, we're not. Just like check. Right, it's episode 1, The Broken Circle. I bet that's all about the trial of number 1, because their circle has been broken because she got arrested and taken away. I bet that's what it's about. Episode 2, Ad Astra per Aspera. I don't know. Is that aspire to the stars or something like that? Something like that, won't it? I'll try and reach the stars, something like that in Latin. I don't know. I'm not Roman, am I? That could be about anything. Number 3, Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. Must be a time travel one. Number 4, Among the Lotus Eaters. That sounds like a original series episode title, doesn't it? That. So we'll see what happens with that one. Number 5, Charades or Charades. Was there some sort of could that be the episode where we saw in the trailer where we see Spock and Jess Bush, Nurse Chapel kiss, then we see Spock like acting all non-Spock like? Is that what that episode's going to be? Where they're all the minds maybe swap. I mean, we've had body swap episodes already in Strange New Worlds, haven't we? Why are we having another one? Had one in the first season, didn't they? When Spock and T'Pring swapped bodies, swapped captures, didn't they? And then we're having another one by the looks. Number 6, Lost in Translation. So that's going to be an Uhura episode where she's got to translate everybody because the universal translator probably breaks. Don't know. With the Klingons, probably, maybe. I don't know. No, that Klingons are coming up in a bit. Number 7, Those Old Scientists, which that's probably going to be the crossover episode with Lower Decks, isn't it? Number 8, Under the Cloak of War. Is that going to be the Klingon episode? We saw Spock and the Klingons, didn't we? In that Klingons used cloaking devices, although they didn't in this timeline. Although they did in Discovery, didn't they? But supposedly they didn't get cloaking devices until they forged an alliance with the Romulans that were well into, the original series timeline. Never mind. Number 9, or it could be something with the Romulans. Number 9, Subspace Rhapsody. That maybe they get a message from somewhere. I don't know. Music from a distant star. Could be like the TNG episode Pen Pals or something like that, couldn't it? I don't know. Number 10, Hegemony. Is that how you pronounce it? I never know. Is it Hegemony or Hegemony? I've always said Hegemony. But I bet that's a Gorn episode. Because I think it's the Gorn Hegemony, isn't it? Like you've got the Cardassian Empire, or the Cardassian Alliance, isn't it? Or is it the Ferengi Alliance? Is it I'm sure it's Cardassian. No, I don't know. And obviously the Klingon Empire and the Romulan Empire have got the Gorn Hegemony. Anyway, videos unavailable. I wonder what we're in there. I should have started up my VPN, shouldn't I? But never mind. Right, so here we go. Now there's them two from Lower Decks. I hate that program. Perhaps the most anticipated event in Strange New Worlds, not for me, it's in Season 2, is the crossover episode with Star Trek Lower Decks, which will be Episode 7, Those Old Scientists. The title is a callback to a joke in Lower Decks Season 1 finale, No Small Parts, when Commander Jack Ransom, Jerry O'Connell, referred to the original series as Those Old Scientists, or TOS. A sly wink that the abbreviation for Star Trek, the original series, is offhandedly used in canon, but with a different meaning that refers to Captain Kirk, William Shatner, and his USS Enterprise crew. I don't know, because I didn't see it, because it's crap. God, I hate Lower Decks, I do. The crossover episode that brings Lower Decks ensigns Beckett Mariner, Tawny Newsom, and that character in Galaxy Quest, isn't it? I know she was torn in Madison. And Brad Boimler, Jack Quaid. To Strange New Worlds will be episode 7 of season 2, which was confirmed by director Jonathan Frakes. Dreading it. The other Strange New World Season 2 episode titles don't reveal too much that is significant, except perhaps for episode 10, Hegemony. The Gorn are major villains in Strange New Worlds, and their civilization is called the Gorn Hegemony. This strongly infers that the Gorn will be back in Strange New World Season 2 finale. I think we got a glimpse of them in the trailer, didn't we? I think we did. I think we got a quick glimpse. But anyway. Strange New Worlds Episode 8, Under the Cloak of War, ominously hints at another conflict brewing that Captain Pike and the Enterprise may need to prevent. Strange New Worlds Season 2, Episode 2, Ad Astra per Aspera, is a Latin phrase meaning to the stars through difficulties. Well, whatever, reaching for the stars or whatever. Star Trek Strange New Worlds also recently released a clip of number one's Rebecca Romijn's trial from Episode 2, Ad Astra per Aspera. While the season premiere, The Broken Circle hints at Pike's fractured crew when season 2 begins. Whatever. I'm looking forward to it, apart from the crossover episode, because I do like Strange New Worlds. I recently watched season 1, and I really enjoyed it. Even the final episode, which I've said before, I hated the final episode of season 1. I still don't like it, but I hate it a little bit less now. But anyway, yeah, so there we go. So 10 episodes to look forward to, and I'm looking forward to it. And he's not Kirk. He's not Kirk, him, that idiot there. No, not even remote. I look more like bloody William Shatner than he does, for Christ's sake. Jesus. Anyway. But we were talking about recasting, weren't we, in the previous article? The recast, just with somebody that looks nothing like we're supposed to. Anyway. Let's move on. Let's just rattle through these stories. This good. Oh, I thought it wasn't going to come on then. Right. Star Wars Skeleton Crew gets unsurprising Disney Plus episode count. And there's Jude Law, proper wooden. Skeleton Crew, Lucasfilm's third live-action 2023 series, appears to be following a Star Wars Disney Plus pattern. Set in the years after Return of the Jedi and within the Mandalorian timeline, the Jude Law, proper wooden, led series described as Stranger Things in Space is expected to be part of the expanding Mandoverse. Why have they got to call it? It's Stranger Things in Space. Oh, it's Kill Bill meets whatever, the Acolyte. Just say it's a new Star Wars series about such and such. Don't try and compare it to something else. I know you're trying to get people to watch it, and Stranger Things is popular, but you're just you're just bumping up people's expectations. Unless you hate Stranger Things, and then you're bumping them down. But in addition to sharing the same era within the Star Wars timeline, new evidence suggests Skeleton Crew is also keeping with the same length and structure as The Mandalorian. Skeleton, why are they showing him there? And him, they're not going to be in the Skeleton Crew, because I'm sure that they're killed in Mandalorian Season 3. These are the pirates, by the way. Skeleton Crew's listing on the WGA website shows that season 1 of the series consists of 8 episodes. This episode count is the same as most Star Wars Disney Plus shows within the Mandoverse, as all 3 seasons of The Mandalorian and soon to be released Ahsoka are 8-episode seasons. The same applies to the High Republic era series, The Acolyte. Are you sure? Which is set to premiere on Disney Plus in 2024. Are you sure? We've not heard a lot about the Acolyte, have we? There's the rumours they've just been given money for a pilot, or at most, at least a sizzle reel. So I keep saying it. We don't know if it's got a full season, but they're saying it's going to be 8 episodes. Don't know. MCU Spider-Man director John Watts, along with Christopher Ford, penned the bulk of Skeleton Crew, with the exception of the series' 5th and 6th episodes, which were written by Myung-Yo Wessner. Apologies. In keeping with another Star Wars Mandoverse tradition, different directors are attached to each different episodes, with Skeleton Crew's lineup consisting of Everything Everywhere All at Once's Daniel Kwan and Daniel Shiner, The Green Knight David Lowery and Jake Schreier, the upcoming director of Marvel Studios' Thunderbolts. Recurring Star Wars director Bryce Dallas Howard is also set to direct, along with Minari's Lee Isaac Chung, who directed The Mandalorian Season 3 episode The Convert. Both Star Wars and MCU Disney Plus series have shown a preference for seasons consisting of less than 10 episodes. Probably cheaper. Still, that's not to say there haven't been exceptions. Season 1 of Andor featured a whopping 12 episodes, and so Season 2. And the Book of Boba Fett, another Mandoverse series, only consisted of 7. And 2 of those were Mandalorian ones. However, the fact Skeleton Crew is keeping to Lucasfilm's rule of 8 suggests an effort to connect the new series to its Disney Plus predecessors, leading up to Dave Filoni's The Mandalorian crossover movie. The real question is just how long will each of the season's 8 episodes be, as that will truly determine the length of just how much story it has to tell. While Star Wars has yet to officially confirm Skeleton Crew's release date, Jaleel White, who's set to star in the series, revealed Skeleton Crew drops on Disney Plus in November or December of this year, I presume. Fans should learn more about Skeleton Crew's upcoming season in the coming months. Skeleton Crew is expected to premiere on Disney Plus later this year. Speaking of Disney Plus, my son pointed out to me that the Indiana Jones films have appeared on Disney Plus, in the UK at least, which surprised me. Because the Paramount films, aren't they? I know the Lucas film, but they were distributed by Paramount, so they must have cut some deal with Paramount to get them on Disney Plus. But yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to Skeleton Crew, because I do like Jude Law. You know, I always say proper wouldn't, but that's just because that's what my mate says. He don't like Jude Law, but I quite like Jude Law. I say he's Sky Captain, and I love Sky Captain. And he's Gigolo Joe from AI. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to it, and I hope it's going to be good. And if it's set in the Mandoverse, which I do quite enjoy the Mandoverse, you know, Season 3 wasn't amazing. Book of Boba Fett were crap. Apart from the 2 Mandalorian episodes. Well, one of them at least. And what else? And Ahsoka. I'm looking forward to Ahsoka. The trailer looks really good for Ahsoka, so I'm looking forward to that. But we'll see what happens, won't we? We'll see what happens. It's going to be 8 episodes anyway, but I don't think the Acolyte. I'm not sure the Acolyte's going to get 8 episodes. We will see. Let's move on. We're on gaming now. Ooh, gaming. Because I'm something of a gamer myself. I'm not. I'm rubbish. Right, CD Projekt Red not in talks with Sony about acquisition. So this is an article about something that's not happening. CD Projekt Red has been in the news quite a bit lately. Not only did the company announce that its Witcher series had surpassed 75 million copies sold, but it also revealed that Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty, the upcoming DLC for its latest game, is officially coming to the Summer Game Fest next month. Alongside this, the company has seen rumours start to swirl about supposed talks with Sony about an acquisition. There were a lot of S's, weren't there, in that sentence? This actually isn't the first time this rumour has been thrown out there, but just like every other time, it appears this is just wishful thinking on the part of Sony fans. I've got Witcher 3. I've not got very far in it, to be honest. And I've got Cyberpunk 2077, and I've not got very far in that either. I'm rubbish at games. Lots of games I start and never finish. This latest rumour seems to have started in a few Discord servers. It's another thing that baffles me. I'm a member of one Discord, the podcast guys, and it baffles me. But a PR rep from CD Projekt Red made it clear that this is definitely not happening. The exact words were, "Yeah, we're not in such talks with Sony." What? Yeah, are they from like Minnesota or wherever it is, you know, where Fargo's set? Yeah. Anyway. In response to a tweet from YouTuber Last Known Meal, who, to their credit, was also saying the leaks weren't true. It's hard to get much more definitive than that without the official account saying something on its own. It's safe to assume that the PR rep wouldn't be out there tweeting publicly if this scuttlebutt had any chance of being true. And there we are. That's somebody asking. and him, whoever, her, sorry. So they saying, yeah, we're not in such talks with Sony. Of course, it wouldn't be surprising to see CD Projekt Red be approached by someone like Sony. The PlayStation creator is up against a Microsoft company that is seemingly on its way to acquiring Activision Blizzard. For its part, Sony acquired Destiny developer Bungie last year, which were famously a Microsoft company at one point, wasn't it? With Halo and all that. But adding a company like CD Projekt Red to the brand will be quite the get. That said, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt crossing 50 million copies sold in the last quarter. It's not like CD Projekt Red needs much help putting out great games. Fortunately for fans, it doesn't look like it'll be slowing down anytime soon. I'm going to have to carry on with Witcher 3. Anyway, pardon me. Greg, I'm off. Pop. As mentioned, Cyberpunk 2077's DLC should be out relatively soon. We don't have a firm release date yet, but CD Projekt Red seems to be aiming for a 2023 window. In fact, we might see the release date announced during its showing at the Summer Game Fest. Pardon me, what's that? I've no idea. CD Projekt also has the next Witcher game in active development, along with the Witcher-related multiplayer game. Suffice to say, there will be plenty of CD Projekt Red games on the way over the course of the next few years. And there we go. So they're not going to be bought by Sony, but they're doing well anyway. So there we go. The Witcher series has surpassed 75 million copies sold, but most of those are Witcher 3. And I presume Cyberpunk 2077 has sold a lot of copies as well. It got off to a shaky start, didn't it? It sold loads of copies, and then apparently the game was pretty much broken, apparently, but they've fixed it now. People like it now. So there we go. Right, hang on. So let's move on. Oh, I'm pressing the wrong button. Oh, I tell you, I'm useless. There we go. Then what's this one? This next one's from Bounding into Comics, so it could get spicy. There we go. Oh, I forgot to go full screen. There we go. Right, here we go. This is from J.B. Augustine, Bounding into Comics. The Flash director, Andy Muschietti, confirms Nicolas Cage Superman cameo. Spoilers for The Flash. I dreamt all of my life to work with him. And there's him as The Flash. I've got his bloody name there. You know what I'm like. It's been talked about, and all the rumours and hints turned out to be true. The Flash will serve as Nicolas Cage's redemption. The Renfield star will finally play his stymied incarnation of Superman as a variant dwelling within the multiverse. His appearance, however, allegedly amounts to a cameo that Barry, Ezra Miller, that's the fella. When I say fella, I mean fella. He's not they, them, only when it suits him. We'll find when he travels through the Speed Force. And there's Nicolas Cage as Dracula in Renfield, which I've heard is good, but I've not got around to watching yet. With all the scoops spoiling this detail of the film, its director Andy Muschietti felt that it could no longer be kept a secret. He thus talked about it, as well as working with Nicolas Cage for the first time in an interview with Esquire Middle East. Nick was absolutely wonderful, he said. Remember, Nicolas Cage was originally going to play Superman in Tim Burton's, famously film that didn't happen, Superman Lives. Did Superman Lives? Yeah, Superman Lives. And, the late, great John Schnepp did a documentary, The Death of Superman Lives. A documentary about how that film, never happened. So there we go. Although the role was a cameo, he dove into it, Muschietti continued. I dreamt all my life to work with him. I hope I can work with him again soon. He would add that Cage is a massive Superman fan and a comic book fanatic, which is common knowledge at this point. The Man of Steel was one of his dream roles. Here we go. He remained attached to Superman Lives until 2000, when it was clear the movie wasn't going forward and the actor gave up hope. Stills and test footage leaked out in the ensuing years that left fans cringing and baffled initially, but also inspired men like John Schnepp to imagine what could have been in his documentary, The Death of Superman Lives. Great documentary. Seek it out. Cage mentioned what he, director Tim Burton, and producer John Peters were going for. It was more of a 1980s Superman with like the samurai black long hair. It didn't look it to me in the stills that are, the footage, the test footage. He didn't have samurai black long hair. Anyway, it's overnighted back in March. I thought it was going to be a really different sort of emo Superman. Yeah, that's what it looked like. But we never got there. Tobey Maguire went there with Spider-Man in his third outing, and we remember how that worked out. I like Spider-Man 3, and I liked him turning bad. Well, I was Superman turned bad in Superman 3. Kind of like that, wasn't it? Anyway, here's the Barry Allen, Ezra Miller, Supergirl, who has quite the physique, I must admit, and another Barry Allen, Ezra Miller. Is that Bat Flash? I think it is, isn't it? Add to that, there was supposed to be a fight with a giant mechanical spider, thanks to Peters, for extra weirdness. To some, it was for the best that Superman Lives never got off the ground, but the Flash will make up for the lost time. Interestingly, Peters may have finally gotten his wish, as rumour has it that Muschietti allowed the giant allowed the giant spider for that Superman cameo, before warning followers to avoid the spoiler altogether. Scooper, My Time to Shine hello, claims there's a cameo from Nicolas Cage as Superman fighting a giant robot. Giant robot spider. Oh, that's it. There we go. So that's the tweet. There's a cameo from Nicolas Cage as Superman fighting a giant robot spider. There we go. So there you go. Nicolas Cage plays Superman in the new Flash film. They're plugging it, aren't they? I mean, it's a deliberate. They're doing everything they can, aren't they? It's a deliberate thing to try and get people to go and watch the Flash in it. So they're releasing little spoilers. Oh, we've got Nicolas Cage in a Superman. We've got Henry Cavill. We've got Ben Affleck. We've got Gal Gadot. They're all in it, as their characters: Wonder Woman and Superman and Batman. We've got Michael Keaton as Batman, who's a major character in the film. Come and see it, please. It cost us $80 gazillion. So we need your money. Anyway. So, but it'll be fun to see. It'll be fun to see Nicolas Cage. Will he be, wacky Nicolas Cage, or will he be restrained Nicolas Cage? Don't know. I mean, restrained Nicolas Cage is like Willy's Wonderland. That's restrained Nicolas Cage, isn't it? Anyway. Right, next. We get in there. This one is a bit of, a serious one. What? A serious one? This one's about law and all that. Netflix threatens to purge shows in UK to avoid falling foul of onerous new streamer regulations. This is from Deadline. Exclusive. Netflix has threatened to preemptively remove films and TV shows from its UK library to avoid falling foul of new streamer regulations being introduced by the British government. Ministers in the UK want media regulator Ofcom to police streaming giants in a similar way to traditional broadcasters, meaning the likes of Netflix and Amazon Prime Video could be fined up to £250,000, $310,000, for carrying harmful content. In a submission to UK Parliament's Culture, Media and Sport Committee, Netflix took a swipe at plans to introduce due impartiality rules for streamers under the media bill, calling draft legislation nebulous and potentially onerous for services to enforce. I mean, I'm guessing that they want streamers to do like broadcasters like Sky do with their movie channels, they subscribe to, where if it's before the watershed, 9 o'clock or whatever, 9 p.m., and there's a film on that, there's a certain certificate that may have adult content or, violence or whatever, you've got to put a password in. So I'm guessing they want them to do stuff like that. So if you want to go onto Netflix and watch, an 18 rated film at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it'd ask for a password. That's all I'm guessing. I could be wrong. The media bill. Oh, I hide articles. The media bill states that major streamers must consider impartiality in the context of contemporary events, pointing specifically to current public policy. Sounds a bit 1984, doesn't it? And the matters of political or industrial controversy. So it's not to do with what I've just said. Netflix said that staying on the right side of this rule would require it to keep its giant catalogue of content under continual review, ensuring that it is purging titles on a regular basis, regardless of when the show or film premiered. The range and variety of Netflix's content, generally considered a strength of our offering in terms of maximising choice for British viewers. Apologies, by the way. There's a dog barking outside. Bear with me. Bloody dog. Sorry about that. One of the neighbours has got a dog that's always barking. I've got used to it, but I've just noticed it, and I thought maybe you didn't hear it. I don't know, but I've just closed the window. Where were we? I'll start again from here. The range and variety of Netflix's content, generally considered a strength of our offering in terms of maximising choice for British viewers, could equally become a potential source of risk from a compliance perspective if it fell within Ofcom's remit, Netflix said. Without considerably greater clarity around the scope and application of these provisions, it would inevitably be easier to remove content preemptively from our UK catalogue than risk an onerous compliance burden and potential liability. In its fact, but you'd think, you'd think that they'd have to have follow certain rules, wouldn't you, of what they do, allow on the streamer. But anyway. Have I just read that? Yes, I have, right. In its 5-page document sent to the Culture, Media and Sport Committee, Netflix echoed language used last month by Benjamin King, the streamer's head of policy in the UK. King said the impartiality rules could have a chilling effect on its appetite to make documentaries available to British audiences. Netflix added that the legislative proposals also open up the risk of complaint tourism, meaning people outside of the UK could complain to Ofcom. More broadly, Netflix said regulation of streaming services should be different from traditional broadcasters. Viewers make active decisions to watch Netflix content, the streamer said, whereas people may accidentally stumble across potentially harmful shows on linear TV. Yeah, like I said, that's why on the Sky movie channels, you have to put passwords and stuff in. If you come across, go into one of their channels and they're showing a 80s certificate film or whatever at 2:00 in the afternoon, you've got to put a password in to watch it, and that's why I was guessing that's what this bill was mostly about. But it seems to be other things as well. Disney made the same argument in its 4-page missive to the Culture, Media and Sport Committee. The US media giant said the audience protection measures it puts in place on Disney Plus, such as age ratings, means it is not proportionate to introduce blanket streaming regulation. Hello, Takar. There we go. Ofcom populated by all ex-BBC employees, not biased at all. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. Disney said, given the differences between linear broadcasting and video on demand, the robust audience protection measures put in place by most video on demand services, you just sign in, don't you? That's not, that's not what I'm calling audience protection. The varying consumer propositions and brand promises made by different VOD services, it seems inappropriate to apply uniform rules on all VOD services, whether that is strict content rules or mandated ratings. Let's see, you have to sign in, aren't you, every time you go onto like Netflix or Prime or Disney. Well, when it's a sign in, obviously your computer or your TV or your tablet or whatever remembers your login details, but then you have to. If you've got different accounts, you can sign into that account. Or if you just want it for your kids and you don't want to see anything not appropriate to them, you sign into the kids section, don't you? So then you just see the age appropriate content, stuff that shouldn't traumatize them. Where were we? Netflix is the most popular streaming service in the UK with an estimated 17 million subscribers. Crikey, that just in the UK. Bloody hell. According to Ofcom. Amazon Prime Video and Disney Plus are the second and third most in-demand streamers. In other evidence to the Culture, Media and Sport Committee, Warner Brothers Discovery and Fremantle raised concerns about plans to allow Channel 4 to make its own shows. Why shouldn't Channel 4 make its own shows? No, it's partly owned by, the taxpayer, but, let it make its own shows. I mean, Channel 4 used to be all edgy back in the olden days, didn't it? But not anymore, apparently. Censorship through the back door. Yeah. That's what it sounds like, doesn't it? As I said earlier, it sounds very 1984. Where did I see it now? Here we go. The media bill states, this is what I read earlier, isn't it? The media bill states that major streamers must consider impartiality in the context of contemporary events, pointing specifically to current public policy. So that's like government-controlled, media, isn't it? If you say what's against current public policy of the government of the day, you'll get your license revoked. And matters of political or industrial controversy. Well, in media media outlets, are they supposed to, in controversy is supposed to be one of the things that we want to see. If somebody's done something wrong or created a controversy, we want to know about it, don't we? But anyway, so there we go. So we could see things pulled from Netflix. I don't think they will. I don't think it'll go that far. But they should pull that off anyway, straight away. Bloody Cleopatra. Not that I've seen it, but I've heard it's poo. Anyway, let's move on. They're already pulling stuff off Disney Plus, aren't they? They've taken off Willow and some other stuff. Not that I'm bothered, because Willow were awful. But that's why I tell my son. See, there were actually one that shows that Disney Plus put on. He started watching that. Now they've taken it off. He said, "Oh, I like that." I says, "That's why I always say get controversial. Get what they call discs and stuff." Oh God, my brain today is not working. Yes, Ottercar. Yes, who decides what's controversial? Well, this is it. Twitter. Twitter decides what's controversial, doesn't it? Anyway, let's move on. Got a bit controversy in the last story, but not yet. Not yet. Hang on, there we go. Right. Hard copies, yes. Physical media, that's what I was trying to think of. I tell you, my brain when I do these shows, you'd think I'd be used to it by now. Oh, hello, Archmage Frey. You're not Windgrace today. Is Willow even available to buy physically? If not, the pirates are the only option. Yes, that's true. No, I don't think it is out to buy. But will they make it available if it's gone from the streamer? But or is it a case of they're using it as a write-off? Because they're doing it to save money, weren't they? Removing these things from Disney Plus. They were supposed to be money saving. So will it be like the Batgirl thing where they used it as a tax write-off? So it couldn't. We'll never see the Batgirl. Is it Batgirl? Yeah, the Batgirl film. We'll never see it because it was used as a tax write-off. So it's got to be, everything had to be destroyed, which is a shame. But I'm sure there's a copy somewhere. I'm surprised it hasn't leaked online already, to be honest. But anyway, right. Anyway, Star Trek items up for sale through Heritage Auctions. This is a quick one. There are collectibles, and then there are collectibles. By the way, they must make their money at these Heritage Auctions. Look at that building there. Anyway, for over 30 years, one collector has been gathering sets, costumes, and props spanning TV's birth to its golden age to the era of peak TV. Now, the items in his collection, including numerous items from the Star Trek universe, are going to auction, and you have an opportunity to bid on iconic items from television's past. Not like on eBay, then. I've just sold some stuff on eBay and I wait for somebody to bloody pay for the things. Damn it, man. And they would have pain in the ass and all. I'm sorry, I hope you're not watching. Deadline is reporting on the upcoming auction of from Heritage Auctions. I mean, I've just bought some off eBay. I bought an LP, Leatherwolf LP, and I bought it, paid for it. It's on its way. Some people fanny about, don't they? Anyway, Deadline is reporting on the upcoming auction from Heritage Auctions, which will be handling the collection of James Commissar. I presume that's how you pronounce it, who had hoped until recently to open a museum for the likes of David Letterman's desk and Archie and Edith Bunker's living room chair. Otticar says Willow, a write-off is something to do with tax. Willow's a write-off. Oh, is that? I thought I'd heard that somewhere. Yeah. So we'll probably not see it again then. If they're writing it off for tax, we'll probably not see it again, will we? Not on the on the streaming and not in physical media. So that must be that. It'll be gone now forever. So if you didn't see it, if you didn't download it, that's it. Anyway, the museum isn't going to happen. So much of Commissar's collection is headed for the auction block. That collection includes over 30 Star Trek-related items. For the next 2 to 3 days, depending on the lot, you can bid on a pair of Mr. Spock's ear tips from Star Trek, the original series. They'll go for a lot of money, I think. A set of tribbles from the Star Trek Deep Space Nine season 5 episode, Trials and Tribulations, or a Lenore Caridian costume sketch by William Ware Theiss. Is that how you pronounce it? I don't know. For the TOS season 1 episode, The Conscience of the King. That might go for a bit as well. A sketch by the costume designer. Anyway, the auction of these and other items takes place June 2nd to 4th. For more on the background and to see and bid on the lots for the sale, head over to the Deadline and Heritage Auctions. There's the links. Links for this in the description, obviously. So there you go. So if you want to buy some original series and Deep Space Nine and other things, I don't know what the other things are. Over 30, it said. Give it a look. So let's have a look, shall we? Let's go to Heritage Auctions. Sod it. I'm going to have to get out of this now, aren't I? Just bear with me. Let's go and see what there is. Right, Heritage Auctions. I'm on it now. I'll put it on in a minute. Here we go. Right. Oh, right, we're there. Right, so I'll put it back on. I'll go back full screen again. Just bear with me. Nothing from Discovery, says Archmage. I don't know, but we will see, because I'm going to put him up now, what we've got here. Right, here we go. Nichelle Nichols, Lieutenant Uhura, Season 1 Starfleet bridge uniform and boots from the original series. The reserve on that's $50,000. Wow. Leonard Nimoy's Mr. Spock, green Grecian, is that, I don't know how to pronounce chiton, I don't know. And gold belt from the episode Plato's Stepchildren. $20,000 reserve on that. Leonard Nimoy, Mr. Spock, prosthetic Vulcan ear tips. They look rubbish, them, don't they? Oh, you can look rubbish, them, don't they? Anyway, from the original series, current bid on that $3,800. So nobody's bid on them yet, but somebody's bid on the ear tips. A dress from Dagger of the Mind. Current bid's $500 for that. There we go. I'm surprised nobody's bid for that yet. Some pervert, I put a bid in and wear that. William Shatner is he's top from the original series, from the first season. Are you sure that's a William Shatner one? Because that's got lieutenant stripes on the sleeve, not captain stripes. I don't think that's William Shatner one. Anyway, the reserve for that's 80,000. But yeah, you can't stay on it. Yeah, that's got captain stripes on there. Are the boots size 12? The could be, I don't know. I don't know how big her feet were. I imagine Nichelle Nichols had little dainty feet in my head canon. Botany Bay crew member gold metallic honeycomb sleep suit from the episode Space Seed. Somebody's bid for that, $825. That's kind of funky. A Klingon golden black tunic. Somebody's bid for that, 625. What if nobody's bid for that because they've realised it's not Captain Kirk's top because it's got lieutenant stripes on? Or did we see him in lieutenant stripes? I don't know. I think it's lieutenant stripes, or is it lieutenant commander? I think it might be a little bit. I think one stripe is lieutenant, isn't it? And I think stripe and a dotted stripe is lieutenant commander, isn't it? And then a double stripe is commander. And then the two stripes with the dotted stripe in the middle is captain, isn't it? And then there's others. There's others beyond that. Fleet captain and all that. And then rear admiral and commodore and all them. Anyway, whatever. Right, this one's from Requiem for Methuselah. It's Flint's outfit. That's got a reserve of $10,000. They've got these high reserves, but the bids on some of these are quite low, aren't they? So I wonder what the reserves were for them. We're still going anyway. Gideon native from the Mark of Gideon. Is that the I get mixed up now with some of these original series episodes. The Mark of Gideon, the one with the overpopulated planet, where there were like a window. He thought it were on the Enterprise, and the window. He sort of looked at the window, and loads of people were looking in because it were all overpopulated. Is that the Mark of Gideon? I'm thinking of a different one. I get mixed up. Anyway, somebody's bid for that, $675. A sketch from Robert Brown, a costume sketch from the Alternative Factor from Lazarus. Somebody's bid for that, $82. There it is. So is that a William Worth sketch? I don't know. But anyway, Lee Merriweather costume sketch. It will be from by William Worth from That Which Survives. Somebody's bid $925 for that. I sketch a bit. I'm something of a sketch artist myself, as Willem Dafoe might say. Or he used to be. Starfleet uniforms and costume sketches by William Worth. See, there's various ones here. It's got a bid of $150. There you go. Various sketches. What else have we got? This is just bits and bobs now. Lists and stuff. But they've all got bids. $500 for that. Like a call sheet. Crew list, staff and crew lists. $155. Wardrobe receipts. $410. Do they have the ballot puppet? I always want. That's terrified me. Really, they always used to say when I was a kid, they would say, "Oh, Daleks." Kids used to hide behind the couch when the Daleks came on Doctor Who. No, they didn't. I used to hide behind the couch when the bloody ballot puppet appeared at the end of every episode of season 1 or whatever of the original series when it showed him. Scared me to bloody death. Anyway, where were we? William Worth fan mail and viewer correspondence. Current bid $3. Oh, I feel sorry for that now. But anyway, you can bid. Tricorder. Look at that tricorder communicator. When's this from? Replica, original series. But the replicas, but anyway, the bid 2,300. So does this mean screen used? Or does it mean that somebody just copied them? It says replica, doesn't it? Don't know. But it's 3 items, it says. So what's the 3 items? Tricorder, type 1 phaser, type 2 phaser, and communicator. Oh, so there is a... Right, so there's the phaser in there somewhere as well, but then got a picture of it. Personal effects, personal sketchbooks, birth certificate. Oh, right, for William Worth business cards, letterheads, and all that stuff. $625 the bid on that. I'm sorry if I'm boring you. I just find this fascinating. What we got here? New old stock birthday party tablecloth cups from series costume designer William Worth from Star Trek. He's probably bought them. Anyway, somebody's bid $76 for them. pair of Aldean costumes from When the Bow Breaks. Bids up to $250 for that. Or them. There's 2 costumes. It says they're both the same. Don't know. How many is there? Are we getting there? We're getting there. We're nearly there. Hang on, where were we? There we go. 3 Aldean costumes. So 3 of those. Bids up to $575 for those. I don't think they'd fit me. Right, Tribbles. Everybody loves Tribbles. That's there from Trials and Tribulations. Couldn't bid 380. And some more. Why didn't... I mean, it says total 3 items, but there's 4 there. Don't know. And William Shatner's golden red tunic from the one that we saw thing, Plato's Stepchildren, I presume that is from. Which is where the first interracial kiss, wasn't it, with Uhura. But it wasn't really, was it? If you watch it, they're just like mushed lips together, didn't they, like that, because they didn't want to kiss, because they'll be forced to do it. But anyway, no bids for that. Reserves $30,000. Ottercar's saying something. If you didn't bore someone somewhere, you wouldn't be a geek. That's true. And the tribbles look like toupees. Yeah, I do. That look like my hair. Same colour, anyway. Well, some of them. Right, where were we? The Ilan of presumably Ilan of Troyes dress. That's got a reserve of 20,000 on. There we go. France Nguyen Elan orange halter neck dress and J Robinson Ambassador Petrie purple silk and whatever. I'm not clicking on the link, but no bids for that yet. If some of these reserves are this high, and the bids are quite low, aren't they? So far, I'm hoping the bids go up during between June 2nd and 4th when the auctions open. Anyway. Scalosian dress. That's very nice. And that one, what's this one from? Cloudminders. There we go. An episode of Strange New Worlds I just watched, and that reminded me of the Cloudminders. And I don't know if it was supposed to be the same, planet, but it showed like a city up in the clouds with like beams coming up from the ground. And I can't remember the episode of Strange New Worlds. But anyway. Jill Island costume sketch. Somebody's bid $310 for that. He want the best artist. What a William Wertheiss. But anyway, there you go. It's just for ideas, isn't it? Another William Wertheiss sketch. Oh, this is the one that they mentioned in the article from The Conscience of the King. Very good. That's got a bid, $460. Earliest known costume sketch of Starfleet uniforms on Howard Johnson's placemat. So it's written on a tissue paper, basically, by William Wertheiss, 1966. No bids yet. They thought somebody would bid for that, wouldn't you? Earliest known costume sketch. I think that'll go for a while, particularly because it's jotted down on a paper towel sort of thing. You'd have thought so. Rings, necklaces, bracelets, brooches by William Wertheiss. There we go. Somebody's bid $220 so far. And William Wertheiss group of handwritten costume sizes and personal information for William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy, Nichelle Nichols, etc. And there we go. Bill Shatner, chest 41.5, waist 32. Yeah. Trousers, I presume that'd be his inside leg, I suppose. 30.5. Hip 39. Out seam 40. Inseam 30. Shirt 15.5. Blah 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 blah. There you go. So that's William Shatner's vital statistics back in the day. Serious bidders will leave till last minute to pay the minimum maximum amount, so to speak. Yeah, like on eBay, innit? You get a flurry of last minute bidders. The one where they yes, I think it was where they sacrificed that kid. Yeah, it was though. They had like a bit of a chase through like a little maze thing, didn't they? Whatever. I think. Yeah, I think it was that one. Yeah. But it reminded me of that. But I don't know if it was supposed to be the same planet or what. I don't know. I don't think it was. But anyway. 20 plus issues of TV Guide magazine. Oh, tell Paul Chato. He's into TV Guide, isn't he? Couldn't bid $50. Maybe he's bid on it already. But Star Trek TV Guides. And here we go. Don Adams, Maxwell Smart, Cheese Sandwich, Concealed Phone, Smart Fit, the Battle of Jericho episode Get Smart. What's that got to do with Star Trek? I don't know. It's got a reserve of $10,000. What's that doing in the Star Trek stuff from Get Smart? Don't know. But there we go. I just thought I'd share that with you. So there's all the stuff. I'm sure a lot of it will go for a lot of money, particularly the Nichelle Nichols uniform and the William Shatner stuff and all that. Right. Let's move on. Where were we? Doctor Who. This is a bit of a list, is this one? Sort of, I think. I don't actually know. I've not read it. So let's see. Doctor Who versus Star Trek. Which aliens are better? Ooh, controversy. We like Doctor Who's aliens. We like Star Trek's aliens. But who's better? There's only one way to find out. Fight. Fight. Did that sound... I don't know. I haven't got my soundboard and stuff, and it doesn't do voices anyway. But I'm going to have to get one that, you can modulate your voice with. Right, here we are. Why are we fascinated? And there's a Cyberman, a Dalek, and a Borg. Hugh, to be precise. Why are we fascinated by science fiction? Is it the opportunity to extrapolate technological and sociological trends beyond our current experience? Is it the way it helps us to appreciate our place in the vast and unknowable universe? Is it the way that it gives us a fresh perspective from which to examine the human condition? No, it's none of those things. It's aliens. Aliens are the number one best thing about science fiction, which is why we can objectively and correctly rank large science fiction franchises according to which one has the best aliens. And out of those franchises, the biggest ones with the most detailed alien cultures are Doctor Who and Star Trek. Please go to the comments and argue about Star Wars versus Farscape among yourselves and try not to pick on that one person fighting for Babylon 5. Babylon 5 had great aliens, in my opinion. I never got into Farscape. Could never get into it. I don't know why. And it's got, Claudia Black in it and Ben Browder. But I can't get into it. I've tried. Anyway, to decide again, objectively and correctly, which aliens are better, we must look at a complex lattice of interrelated criteria, scientifically judging each one to objectively determine the best. They probably just threw all the names in a hat to see. Hey, where are we? Doctor Who is more creative, but Star Trek tends to be more fleshed out. Probably. In terms of the culture and all that, yeah. Right, this is frankly an easy win. What are we on about now? The best looking aliens. This is frankly an easy win for the Doctor. Star Trek has a few standouts: the Horta, the Tholians, the Gorn, that tardigrade on Discovery. They mentioned Discovery, Archmage. There is no getting around the fact that the vast majority of Star Trek's alien life across all four quadrants of the galaxy are obviously human-looking guys with prosthetics glued to their heads at best. Well, they used to be, didn't they? In the Rick Berman era, famously, Mars bars glued to people's heads and stuff. Anyway. Babylon 5, says Otakar, probably had the most deadly adversaries. It did, yes. And the shadows and the what's the faces, I know what I mean. Caution them. Vorlons, the shadows and the Vorlons. Most enigmatic adversaries, I suppose, because they were almost godlike, weren't they? But not like Q. Farscape gets much better after season 1, but it's a really absurd show. Like I said, I couldn't get into it. I've not got very far. I think I've watched the first couple of episodes, maybe, and I've dipped out. I can't say I didn't hate it. I just didn't find it very interesting. But anyway. Right, at worst, there's no getting around this. You have blackface. What are you talking about now? What in Star Trek are they on about? I don't know. Of course, they're talking about the Klingons, because essentially the Klingons were in blackface, weren't they, in the original series? Anyway, of course, Doctor Who has had its fair share of species that just so happen to evolve to look exactly like humans. Oh, it's a link, is that in it? It'll tell us. Yes, it's Klingons, it says. Yeah. Of course, Doctor Who had its fair share of species that just so happen to evolve to look exactly like humans. The Doctor themselves is one. The Doctor themselves. I mean the Time Lords. Just say the Time Lords. But not same inside, though, either. They've got two hearts. And there are plenty of species behind that which deviate from humanity only insofar as they genetically have more eyeliner. But those are not the aliens for which Doctor Who is remembered. Doctor Who is remembered for creatures like the Zygons. Yeah, my favourites. My favourite Doctor Who of all time, of all iterations, is Terror of the Zygons. I've got the book somewhere, Doctor Who and the Loch Ness Monster. It's ace, but that is my favourite. Anyway, evil-looking shapeshifters made entirely of tentacles. Well, not really. They just have suckers on their arms and around their heads for some reason. Imagine them doing a cartwheel and sticking to the windows. Made of tentacles. The massive rhinoceros faces of the Jadoon, the fish vampires of the Vampires of Venice, the giant green-clawed babies of Raxicoricophalopatorians. Did I get that right? Bo's giant face, carnivorous shadows, and last but not least, the hideous mutated Cycloptipus you'll find behind the steering wheel of a Dalek. You mean a Khaled? That's what essentially they are, aren't they? These are creatures that look properly alien. The Doctor's TARDIS may have a mysterious fascination for Earth, in particular the south of England and some bits of Wales, but the creatures that wash up there from the rest of the galaxy are fascinating to behold. But we shouldn't judge an alien by its carapace. So, the most fascinating contact stories, and there's the late, great Leonard Nimoy as Captain Spock. We go to stories of alien life forms not just because they look weird, but because they think weird. One of the very best alien stories of recent years was Arrival. No, it was boring. I hated it. I did. I was bored out of my mind with Arrival. It was crap. If you want to watch a better film that is similar, there's a 19... I can't remember when it came out. About 1999, 7, something. I don't know. Anyway, it was called Epoch, and it was these low-budget sci-fi films from like UFO films or whatever, and with like a no-name cast mostly, and about a thing called a Taurus, like this big thing that came down, like in Arrival. They didn't know what it was, and it was ace. It was good for a low-budget thing. Watch that instead of Arrival. Anyway, with its temporarily non-linear aliens that communicate exclusively through coffee cup stains. Yeah, crap, I hate it. Some of the best writing of alien thought processes in recent memory comes from Adrian Tchaikovsky's Children of trilogy. Even if most of the aliens are uplifted spiders, octopuses, and ravens, Tchaikovsky, is he related? I wonder. I don't know. Does a great job of showing how minds other than humans might think, and at the same time show us that the human way of viewing the world is only one subjective perspective. Right, okay, but what's that going to do with Star Trek and Doctor Who? I don't know. The pizza alien freaked me out from the original series. Oh, the Horter. Yeah, it's a great episode. Devil in the Dark. It's a great episode. The Horter. I not kill, or whatever, something like that. It said, didn't it? It burned the words. It learned English from Spock when he mind melded with it, didn't it? Or whatever. I don't know. Right, Star Trek does considerably better here. One of its most famous aliens is Spock, who allegedly has done away with emotion. Well, he didn't, did he? Because he tried, didn't he? Star Trek the motion picture. He went to do his Collinar, didn't he? To purge emotion from his body, and he failed. Pardon me. Because Vija was calling him from space. Oh, crap. My voice went funny then, didn't it? From space. Right, where were we? Giving us a perspective of pure logic for a TV writer's grasp of the word logic that is often wildly different from its human crewmates and yet just as valid. Indeed, Spock forms something of a blueprint for Star Trek writers, and throughout the franchise, it has frequently reused the winning formula. Find an actor with perfect comic timing, cast them as someone who doesn't understand jokes. I'm talking about Data, don't know. But beyond that, Star Trek gives us countless new perspectives. Years before Arrival, Benjamin Sisko was teaching the concept of linear time to the wormhole aliens. Yes, he was. Yes. Aggressive, adversarial, all that. They're playing baseball. Baseball for fun. Competition, etc. Or the Binar, who work in hive minds of two. That one started the next generation's greatest moment, though, wasn't it? Anyway. Yeah, I'm trying to remember the name of the episode. 10000110. I don't know, I can't remember what it was. Yet, while Star Trek undeniably has a wealth of cool ideas, its alien societies always seem to come in the same sort of shape. If you're an alien civilization in Star Trek, there are good odds that you will have warp drive and transporter beams and shields, something like phasers. You might call them disruptors for variety, and your ship-to-ship communication looks a lot like you're calling them on Zoom. Even the ultra-alien species like the Borg pretty much fit this pattern. The thing is with Star Trek, this is my head canon, is that the races we encounter all seem to be ones that are on a similar technological level to us, within a few hundred years or whatever. But I think that's a case of birds of a feather flocking together, because we do come across races that are miles more advanced, but we tend not have anything to do with them, and the ones that are less advanced than us, we have got the prime directives so we can't interfere with those, can we? In theory. But yeah, so we just interact mostly with the races that are of a similar technological evolution to us. Plus, it makes it easier for storytelling, I suppose, doesn't it? But there you go. But some of them are still, enigmatic. The silent enemy aliens of Enterprise. We never saw them. The ship appeared, attacked Enterprise, buggered off again, etc. And of course, the bloody got them mentioned up here, and I forgot the names already. Tholians, the Tholians. We know very little about them, don't we? But we did see them better in Enterprise. But we still know very little about the Tholians. Anyway, where are we? Even the ultra alien species like the Borg pretty much fit this pattern. Well, the Borg aren't really not ultra alien; they're just a bit different, aren't they? Anyway, of course, there's no denying that a lot of the Doctor's interactions with aliens tend to follow a formula as well. While the Doctor visits a few alien planets, most aliens fall into one of two categories: an all-out invasion of planet Earth or a clandestine invasion of the planet Earth. But the actual methods and reason for the invasion vary wildly, as do the ways they interact with more humanoid characters. The weeping angels look like ordinary terrestrial statues, but the fact that they can only move when nobody's looking at them opens up all kinds of creative questions and implications. This is it. Can they only move when, like, a person, a sentient being is not looking at them? What about a cat or a bird? What if a bird sees them? Have they got to stop moving? Or a microbe, if a microbe senses their presence, will they have to stop moving? I don't know. Anyway, Archmage says, at least the Binary episode had Minuet, who became a plot point later. Yes, in the one with that kid alien, where Riker thought he was in the future when he thought his memory was wiped. What do they call that episode now? That's one of my favourites, I must admit, and I can't remember the call the bugger. Yes, because the kid made, you know, a fantasy enterprise for Riker, but he took memories from Riker's brain and created Minuet as his, you know, his dead wife. But obviously Minuet were a hologram, so he could never have married her. But I'm surprised they haven't done that. Who says you can't marry a hologram? I'm surprised they haven't done that. Anyway. Right, where were we? Terrestrial statues, but the fact the silencer's method of invasion by the power of being forgotten forces our heroes to come up with innovative ways to track them, as do the blind dream crabs that can only tell where you are if your eyes are open. And for the reason, for that variety, that all comes down to what these alien stories are actually about. For some, I don't know, for some reason that just reminds me like from Hitchhiker's Guide, where Zaphod Beeblebrox has those glasses that turn dark if danger approaches, so you can't see what's coming. Anyway, so what were the answer then for that one? What was it? Most fascinating contact stories. So who won there, Doctor Who or Star Trek? I don't know which they're picking. I don't know. Anyway, the best storytelling subtext. Began season 3. It should have had Barclay married to a hologram. Yeah, it should have. It should have. It should have. Anyway, I'm surprised they haven't done it. I'm surprised they haven't done it. Can we blow your mind for a second? Believe it or not, how long is this article going for? Believe it or not, a lot of science fiction actually has a metaphorical subtext, sometimes even a political one. In fact, if you don't mind really having your mind blown, a lot of the stories in the original Star Trek series were actually a commentary on the Cold War. Don't worry if this shocks you, it was all extremely subtle. Not really. It wasn't subtle at all. What it all say, oh, you know, they did it, you know, in ways that could get past the censors and stuff. And that, not really. I mean, it was obvious, wasn't it? I mean, even that episode, A Private Little War, that episode, original series one where the village people and the hill people, or whatever they called them, I don't know. And the Klingons were arming one side, and the Federation were arming the other side, and they were on about they had the Declaration of the Independence at the end. You know, we the people. I thought, bloody hell, how much more blatant can you get than that? Anyway, that put a somewhat limited scope on how the Enterprise and her sister ships could interact with aliens. The Enterprise, after all, is a Starfleet ship on a military, diplomatic, and scientific mission. It has orders and regulations and protocols, and when it meets aliens, it tends to be under specific circumstances. Wizard of Oz was a set of stories about socio-political commentary. Yeah, apparently. I've read the Wizard of Oz book, but I can't remember. I was a kid. So I can't really remember much about it, but it was nothing like the film anyway. The Amiga, is that the one I'm thinking of? Oh well, the Yangs and Coms. Oh, right, okay. Well, which was the Private Little War one? I thought that was the one where I can't remember. I thought that was one where they were arming both sides. Because it were Tyrese people or something like, I don't know. I get mixed up with the original series. Anyway, where were we? You could meet diplomats for conferences, and by the way, is it weird that Starfleet's most important flying conference centre was also its most devastatingly powerful battleship? No, not weird at all. Because I bet they have lots of conferences on, like, you know, aircraft carriers and stuff. You know, I bet they've got conference suites and stuff these days, haven't they? I bet they have. Anyway, or you could meet up to rattle some sabres along an interstellar border, or you could beam down to an as yet uncontacted world and try really carefully not to do a colonialism. The Doctor, meanwhile, is basically on a gap year where the year is measured by the planet Neptune. The Doctor has no, i.e., you know, I think Neptune's year is something like 187 years or something. I don't know, something like that. Takes it a long time to go around the sun, doesn't it? The Doctor has no rules and will stumble, barge, or be kidnapped and dragged into any number of situations. The aliens he encounters don't represent nation states, but everything from political ideologies to childhood fears to anxieties over technology to weaponized playground games. I don't know. Not necessarily. The aliens he encounters don't represent nation states. Well, sometimes they do, I suppose. I don't know. Anyway, by the way, let's just check, make sure we know the messages in the other live streams. No, we haven't. Right, just thought I'd better check. Yes, we're all okay. Right. I think this article seems to be weighted on the side of Doctor Who. I think there's say more nice things about Doctor Who than they are about Star Trek. Anyway. And admittedly, partly this is because Doctor Who dances around the fringes of what you might strictly call science fiction into the territory of horror stories and fairy tales. Its aliens are often not just aliens, they are monsters, whereas Star Trek's aliens, with a few exceptions, are intended to be our equals and opposites. Well, sometimes they're just adversaries, aren't they? Or obstacles to overcome. Doctor Who's aliens, when they are outright invading, are lurking in the shadows or under our beds. Best emotionless cyborgs. And there's First Contact in there with Data with his human skin. And the lovely Alice Krieger, who I've met a couple of times, and she's really nice. At conventions. I say met, got an autograph off of her. Anyway, to see the contrast, we need to look no further than when both franchises hit upon the same idea. We will politely suggest that Star Trek arrived at the concept independently rather than outright nicking it. Cyborgs that remove all emotion and are connected via a hive mind, the Borg and the Cybermen. In both cases, there's never going to be more than the briefest of temporary peace treaties with these cyborgs. Don't forget the Cybermen were around, what, a good 20 years probably before the Borg. Anyway, late 60s, the Cybermen popped up in Doctor Who, didn't they? In both cases, there's never going to be more than the briefest of temporary peace treaties with these cyborgs. Although Lower Decks does give us a glimpse of a future with Borg school children. In both cases, the cyborgs are a threat to our identity, our individuality, and use the threat of technology as a dehumanizing force. Over time, both have evolved into effectively... Me cat bombing past. Over time, both have evolved into effectively robo-vampires, force-infecting as many people as possible into becoming half-machine slaves with no identity. Often irritatingly, they can be defeated with the old destroy-the-head vampire strategy, which defeats the entire point of a decentralized hive mind. But anyway, that's another rant. Well, yeah. Or gold. Just crumble gold. Don't know how you crumble gold, but do it into a Cyberman's chest plate. That kills them. Anyway, but the Cybermen are my favourite Doctor Who, second favourite, sorry, Doctor Who bad guy. The Zygons being my favourite. Anyway. Yeah, well, I appreciate your restraint from taking a shot at the Lower Decks boat. Well, I didn't see it, so I can't comment. A shot. I just don't like Lower Decks. Just don't like Lower Decks. I didn't get past like halfway through season 1 because it just got me angry. Made my fingers tingle. You know, when you can feel your finger ends tingling. It gets you that mad. The nerve endings because you want to strangle somebody. Or maybe I'm just mental. Anyway, but also both are ultimately less interesting versions of their original portrayal. The Borg would have been so much more interesting if they had stuck to the portrayal seen in Q Who, a society that grew cyborg babies in drawers and was only interested in assimilating technology after wiping off all those pesky organics. Originally, they would have been even more alien, with budgetary concerns eventually leading to the insectoid premise being watered down into more humanoid cyborgs. Well, yes, Q said they are the ultimate users. That's how we described them, didn't he? But, you know, I suppose it could be argued that we did see the Borg babies, but they could have been assimilated babies, couldn't they? In maturation chambers, which we did see later, didn't we, with the Borg children on Voyager, didn't we? Anyway, but Star Trek always watered down its baddies. It always ended up being underwhelming towards the end, didn't they? They did the same with the Borg, the same with the Hirogen. I mean, one of the most terrifying baddies for me was from Voyager, were the Vidians. I thought they were terrifying because they just popped up and stole your organs and buggered off. And I thought that's terrifying to me. Anyway. But the think tank cured their phage, so they must be all right now. But we never learned more after that. You'd have thought they'd popped up in Star Trek Prodigy or something like that, wouldn't you? All the cured Vidians being all wonderful again. Anyway, the Cybermen, meanwhile, are far more interesting in their original incarnation, a society that had taken mechanical prosthetics to their logical conclusion, ship of Theseusing themselves into the monsters they became to survive. When these Cybermen said they had removed all emotion, you believe them, and no cyber voice has yet topped the speak and spell stylings of the ones in the 10th planet, who sounds genuinely puzzled Earth humans. Humans don't want to be like us. Are they the ones from the 10th planet? Is that the Patrick Troughton one? Because I didn't really start watching Doctor Who until John Pertwee. But I've seen clips. I might have seen the 10th planet. I can't remember. Or was it Tomb of the Cybermen? Maybe the one I've seen, the Patrick Troughton one. But there's one anyway with the Cybermen, and it's an early Cybermen, and they're like just. Obviously, they're just many like balaclavas with bits stuck on, a bit like the Borg, to be honest. But when they talk, the mouths don't move. They open the mouth and the voice comes out, and it's really spooky and creepy. Anyway, far from being utterly alien, the Cybermen came from another Earth, Mondas, if I recall correctly. They were humanity's potential future, because it was like Earth's twin planet that somehow existed. I don't know. And the Cycloptopus mutants inside the Daleks, the Khalids, what you call them that for? Also started out looking exactly like humans, and the Toclafane from the Sound of Drums, and the last of the Time Lords, and the Dregs from Orphan 55, and the Hemivores from the Cure of Fenric, and the Future Kind from Utopia. And seriously, you start to suspect the reason the Doctor is so protective of humanity is because then he knows. The Doctor's a he. Never mind her. Because he knows that if we are left alone for 5 minutes, we'll just transform into genocidal monsters. Well, yeah. We don't need to transform into aliens for that. We can be genocidal monsters in human form. Anyway, and before Trek starts getting all high and mighty about having actually aliens, it is worth pointing out that its own original show, Bible, was based on the concept of parallel worlds, which is why the original run took us to the Nazi planet and the gangster planet, and the planet where the Roman Empire never fell, and the planet that is exactly like Earth, except all the grown-ups died and the children were immortal, and there were no clouds. When it showed the Earth, there were no clouds. Just like had a globe. Pardon me. While we've all been arguing about Doctor Who versus Star Trek, the Twilight Zone has snuck in. Pardon me. With one of its trademark twists, the best aliens were humans all along. I can't remember. I don't know. Don't know what they're talking about. I can't remember. So there we go. That was the end of that. That went on a while, didn't it? And I don't know the answers. Which has the best aliens, Star Trek or Doctor Who? I don't know. They didn't really say, did they? It's up to you to decide. It's apples and oranges, isn't it? They're both as good as each other. And then there's Babylon 5, which is the best. Right, moving on. After that nonsense. Oh, this is a daft one. I was going to have this as the and finally. Because it's stupid. It's from the Mail Online. Actor who starred in The Matrix and Lord of the Rings looks unrecognisable as he steps out in London. But can you guess who it is? You ready? It's obviously Hugo Weaving. But he looks unrecognisable. Looks exactly like Hugo Weaving. Anyway, let's have a read. He starred in a string of blockbuster films from The Lord of the Rings to The Matrix and Captain America, the first Avenger, and V for Vendetta, and other stuff. But this actor looked worlds away from Middle-earth as he stepped out in London with his wife on Tuesday. The 63-year-old sported a bushy beard and grey hair. What's wrong with that? And looked dramatically different to his clean-shaven, buzz-cut appearance as his antagonistic character in The Matrix, like from 20 years ago. Can you guess who it is? Yes, it's Hugo Weaving. And there he is again with his wife, walking down the street with his shoes on. It's Hugo Weaving. You don't say. Hugo played the nefarious Agent Smith in all three of the Matrix movies and received critical acclaim in the role of half-elven Lord Elrond in Peter Jackson's three-film adaptations of The Lord of the Rings. Yes, he also appears in Charlie Hopkinson's deep fake Lord of the Rings videos on YouTube, which are hilarious. Yes, it's called Getting Old. I'm Getting Old, yes, I know. Looks like Kelsey Grammer cosplaying David Letterman. It isn't. It's Hugo Weaving. Stop it. Priscilla Queen. Yes, it was. I've not seen that Priscilla Queen of the Desert, but I've heard it's good. But I've not seen it. But yes, it was in that, wasn't it? Along with is it Terence Stamp? I'm thinking of a different film and somebody else. I can't remember. Anyway. Right, Hugo cut a low-key figure as he was spotted exploring Soho, with his wife, Katrina Greenwood. Oh, she's obviously kept her name. Independent woman. The couple have been married since 1984 and have two children together, Harry and Holly. Hugo became, keeping the H in the family. Why did she say, why can't we call my kid, so they're beginning with K? And he's like, no, I'm the Hollywood star, beginning with H. Hugo became a Hollywood name following his appearance in The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring in 2001. He went on to feature in the following two films of the fantasy adventure classic. From there, he made his debut as Agent Smith in The Matrix Reloaded and continued with the role in Matrix Revolutions. They're like padding out this article, aren't they? Hugo has also first appeared in multiple Transformers films, as well as Captain America, the First Avenger, Happy Feet 2, and The Hobbit. Was he in The Hobbit? I don't actually remember seeing him in The Hobbit. Anyway. More recently, Hugo starred in The Visit, and last year he was on board for the Adelaide Film Festival. Yes, he was great as V without ever showing his face. Yes, it was great. Yes. I wish I could memorize his speech he gives, but it's all beginning with V's. But I can't. But I can remember the Umbongo song, but I'll not sing it for you. By the way, there he is as Agent Smith. There's his Lord Elrond of the House of Elrond. Agent Smith again. Is that all they're going to give us? And from The Matrix. Back in 2020, Hugo revealed he was planning on reprising his role as Agent Smith for The Matrix 4, which was released the following year, but scheduling complications could not be ironed out, so they got another fella in. Lana was very keen for me to be part of The Matrix 4. I really wanted to because I am very, very fond of all of them, he said. The actor added he had some initial reticence about the idea of going back to revisit The Matrix after having already done 3 films. Then I read the script and got an offer to my agent. I immediately responded yes to that. Excuse me. And then we went into negotiation. I was doing a play at the time, but we were working out the dates and things so that I could do both, he added. But obviously he couldn't. Is that it? Is that the end? Yes, that's the end. 101 comments. Anybody can spot Will Smith from a mile away. Anyway, so there we go. So yes, a silly article. It's Hugo Weaving. And is it his niece, Samara? Is his niece Samara Weaving? Or cousin? I think she's his niece, isn't she? Who was in the news recently, and I've forgotten why. She's in that great film, Ready or Not, but she's tipped to play somebody, and I can't remember who. It could be Sue Storm in Fantastic Four. We did a thing earlier on, didn't we, where we're on about it's going to be Margot Robbie. I'm sure I've seen that Samara Weaving's also on the list. But I could be wrong. I could be thinking of something else. Anyway, so that were a bit of nonsense. Right. What's next? We're nearly done. Nearly done. Yes, last one. Last one. Right. This is Stargate one. Could be controversial. It's on Bounding into Comics after all. But I thought I'd include it because it's Stargate. There we go. Stargate SG-1 star Corin Nemec decries credibility of mainstream news and questions recent media narratives. And there he is. Met him as well at a convention. Got a photo with him. And him and Suran Brown, who played Hathor. They were at a convention a few years ago. And he's a nice chap. And I think he were done dirty by the SG-1 producers. I mean, he stepped in to fill Daniel Jackson's shoes for season 6? I think it was season 6, wasn't it? Of SG-1. And then when Shanks wanted to come back, just booted him out, and that was it. It was done, gone. Apart from 1 or 2 episodes. Yes, Jonas deserved better. He did. But he shacked up with that super hot Goa wool into in that episode where to drill into the center. It was like the core, wasn't it? That episode to drill into the center of whatever they call their planet. Is it Caledonia or something? I can't remember the call. Anyway, Hollywood actor Corin Nemec, best known for his roles as Jonas Quinn in Stargate SG-1 and the titular character in Parker Lewis Can't Lose, I've never heard of that, has made it clear that he's done listening to mainstream media, recently taken to social media to question some of the information they've been feeding to the public in the past few years. There he is. Recapitulating some of the events that have transpired over the last few years, Nemec tweeted on May 20th, should have shipped him off to Atlantis. Yes, they should have done. It'd have been the Daniel Jackson of Atlantis, and it'd have been cool. Running about with Colonel Shepard and Rodney. But never mind. And what's her face? Taylor. Anyway, Nemec tweeted on May 20th, Wu flu is man-made, laptop is real, Russian collusion is not real, intelligence community is corrupt, border, spelled wrong, is wide open, globalist agenda for world domination is open source news, Federal Reserve Bank is broke, Epstein didn't kill himself, we all know that, don't we? Cheekily inquiring, what am I forgetting? There's his tweet, along with a gif of... not the Wicked Witch, but from the Wizard of Oz. Speaking of the Wizard of Oz, spooky, isn't it? Anyway, first on the actors list is the hypothesis that COVID-19 was leaked from a laboratory in Wuhan, China, a theory that was monumentally dismissed by mainstream media organizations until it was officially considered a viable option by the World Health Organization in June 2022. The lab leak theory gained even more traction when, after conducting a study regarding the origins of the virus, the United States Department of Energy, DOE, concluded that it not only came from a Chinese laboratory, but that it was also created as a biological weapon. Joe Biden's going, come on, man. Could have picked a better picture of him, couldn't they? Otakar says it's the only way mainstream can get close to telling the truth by quoting people who are awake. Yes. Yeah. The second item on Nemec's address is, I said, don't get me started on conspiracy stuff because I've got a proper, well, I haven't, but I have a metaphorical tinfoil hat on permanently. I used to be, basically give away like 9/11 was an inside job. DVDs and stuff. I did, and I still think it was an inside job. We still don't know what really happened that day. Anyway, the second item on Nemec's address, on Nemec's list, I missed a word out, addresses the mainstream media's turning a blind eye to the existence of the laptop belonging to then presidential candidate Joe Biden's son Hunter in the lead up to the 2020 election. In October of 2020, the New York Post reported that Hunter Biden had introduced his father, then Vice President Joe Biden, to a top executive at a Ukrainian energy firm, Burisma, less than a year before the elder Biden pressured government officials in Ukraine into firing a prosecutor who was investigating the company. And there's Hunter Biden. Mainstream media dismissed reports until March of 2022 when the New York Times confirmed the existence of the laptop and revealed how the president's son had paid off a tax liability of over $1 million over a year after announcing he was under investigation for tax fraud. Excuse me. The Washington Post would follow suit that same month, validating the veracity of the emails found in the laptop of the president's son. The New York Post's original reporting on the news revealed that Hunter introduced the chief of state to Burisma advisor Vadim Pozharsky in 2015. Hello, you cheeky monkey, what you up to? It's my cat again. Tinfoil hat, lol, that nothing. I got a tinfoil house. Oh, you don't live in Chickenley, do you? So let's show him where I live. No, I don't live in Chickenley, but I used to. A part of the town where I live, where had tin houses, famously. I know what I'm talking about. Excuse me. Dear Hunter, thank you for inviting me to DC and giving an opportunity to meet your father and Spent Seek. Sometime together, it's realty seek. An honour and pleasure. Read the email obtained by the outlet. Interestingly, President Biden denies having talked with his son Hunter about his foreign endeavours, claiming, "I have never spoken to my son about his overseas business dealings during his presidential campaign." Yeah, right. Nemec's list of news dismissed by the media was not ignored by users on Twitter who dropped by and left their own comments, some agreeing with him and some disagreeing on the actor's opinion. But our elections are completely incorruptible and reflections of the will of the voters, ironically noted David Roberts. Addressing Nemec's closing inquiry, Twitter user Joel Williamson pointed out, "You're forgetting that no one will be held accountable for any of it," prompting the actor to reply, "And that in agreement." Dude, ecstatically prefaced Mitch Prout. As a huge fan of SG1, all of you guys, I'm so glad you are not in denial of this stuff. I sincerely hope you're well. The only two entities not involved in the Russia hoax were Trump and Russia, declared Lone Wolf Dusk. Replying to Dana Kowalski, who proposed, "All goes back to the same thing. UN Agenda 2030, biggest mistake conspiracy folks made was not legitimizing it with the UN, part of the title the last 5 years," Nemec asserted. They have, but few take the time to actually look into it, and it is so vast and diabolical in scope, it takes a sound mind to accept it as real. Well, this is it. That's why I don't pay any attention to the news anymore. And if bad stuff happens, I just like say, well, nothing we can do about it. You've got like Klaus Schwab and his, World Economic Forum goons basically taking over the world right now. Right now, which is why we will own nothing and we'll love it. Which is why you're seeing a lot of adverts and stuff for basically renting everything. You can rent bikes, you can rent fridges. Nothing. We'll own nothing. Everything will be hired and replaced after so long. Phones, cars, it's all it's happening. Anyway, that you have no credibility, replied a frustrated Chris Lakos, to which Nemec gracefully responded with, "Neither does the mainstream news." Oh, that's it. Yes, that's it. There we go. So he's not woke. Well, he's awake. He's Corin Nemec. He'll probably get a lot of grief for this now, probably, which is sad, because you're not allowed to have opinions that go against the mainstream these days, which is why I usually keep my gob shut, apart from today. I just thought I'm standing with Corin, brother. Yeah, so there. So it's another reason why I like him even more now. I've met him once briefly, but he's gone up in my estimations. So there we go. All right, we'll leave that there. And that was the last story, so we'll leave it all there. So So I can go now. I've been on for 2 hours. Bloody Nora. It's my longest show ever, I think. And when I started, I was thinking, I've not got that many stories this week. It'll be a quick show. Longest one ever. Unbelievable. Right. We'll leave it there. So thanks, Archmage, and thanks, Ottercar, for the chats. Let's just check on Rumble, make sure there's none in there. No, there's none in there. None in Twitch either. There we go. Just thought I'd check. Right. So I'm going to go now because it's nearly 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And my lad, who I think could be asleep, actually, it's gone quiet. He's been up all night, as Aidan. So he might have nodded off. But he'll be wanting his tea soon. So I'll have to go and wake him up. Anyway, there we go. I don't know if there were a pause. Then I got a circle in my screen. Thanks for the updates. You're welcome. You're welcome. Like I said, I just pick articles. I just go on. I type in like sci-fi news into Google or whatever. Or I've got a website I go to. Hang on, I'll show you. F11. Where is it? News 25 Now. That's newsnow.co.uk, and they've got like a good sci-fi section that shows like the latest sci-fi news. And I usually get a lot of my stories from there. Or I go to like, Screen Rant. They pop up all the time, don't they? But I go to like Deadline and Variety and places like that, and Bounding into Comics and Den of Geek and places like that. That's where I find me news, and just it's titles. If the title intrigues me, I'll click on it. And sometimes, most of the time, I'm reading it for the first time with you. Sometimes the rubbish. Right, so we'll leave it there. Yes, take care, Archmage. And take care too. Yes. You got your wedding coming up, haven't you, Archmage? Not your wedding, but you're going to our wedding, aren't you? So have fun with that. Or has that happened already? I can't remember. Is it this week? I think you said it was this week. So don't get into a fight, but have fun anyway. There's always fights at weddings, isn't there? Family dues, who'd have them? Right, anyway, so I'm going to go now. So thanks for watching. Wherever you are, look after each other. And until next time, I'll see thee.